top 5 compression mistakes made by beginners and the steps that you can take to help avoid them in your future mixes. Let's hop right in and get to it. Number 1, the attack time. Not setting this correctly can really pull the life out of your track. If your attack time is set too fast, you're going to remove all the power and the punch from your recording. Now, on the other hand, if your attack time is set too slow, you're not really going to have any control over those louder peaks in audio. Think about when you have a singer or a rapper who's recording on a microphone. There's going to be parts in that performance where they pronounce certain words louder than others, and so it's very important that you find the sweet spot for the attack time on your compressor, so that way when the compressor does engage, it's acting on those sudden peaks in audio in a way that is soothing to the ear. You want the compressor to have control over the transients in your audio, but you don't want to remove the life from them. My suggestion to finding the sweet spot for the attack time is to pull up your compressor and set that attack time to the fastest setting that compressor lets you set it at, and your audio is going to sound completely squashed at this point. Now go ahead and play your vocal or guitar or whatever signal you're running through this compressor and slowly increase that attack time until you start to hear those transients come back into your audio. Now you can make minor adjustments from here, but this is going to be a good starting point as to where you want your attack time. It's going to be right there at that threshold of where the transients are still there, but they're being controlled. Okay, so number 2 is going to be the release time. Not setting this correctly is really going to throw off the timing of your compressor. If you set the release time too fast, the compressor is just going to be quickly letting go of the signal as soon as it starts compressing. So you're not going to get the control that you're really looking for when using a compressor. Now, on the other hand, if you set the release time too slow, the compressor is really going to clamp down and hold onto that signal for too long. So my advice to setting the release time correctly is to go to your compressor and drag that release time to the slowest setting possible that's offered on that compressor. Now, when you press play, you're really going to hear an exaggerated form of compression because the release time is not set in time with the tempo of your song. So slowly bring down that release time until you start to feel the groove of the compressor letting go of the signal. And you'll know exactly when your ears find that sweet spot, so don't be afraid to experiment with the setting. Drag it to the fastest setting possible, then switch back over to the slowest setting possible so you can really hear what the release time is doing to the sound of the compression. So the third mistake that I find a lot of beginners making is applying too much compression to a sound. And knowing how much compression to add is really going to depend on the quality of your initial recording. If a vocalist does a really good job at maintaining a consistent distance away from the microphone and they have a lot of control over the loudness of their lyrics, then, adding just a gentle amount of compression can really take their performance to the next level. Now, on the other hand, if your recording is very dynamic and not consistent as far as the volume or the loudness goes, then you're going to need to dial in a bit more compression, or you're going to need to go in and use the clip gain feature or just use some automation to turn down the louder parts so that way you have a little bit more of a consistent recording that's going to be coming into your compressor. If you're recording an acoustic guitar, you don't want 20 decibels of compression, right? It's a very natural instrument, and so you want to maintain the originality of that guitar. So sometimes 2 to 3 decibels of gain reduction or compression is going to do the job. You need to remember that the compressor is a tool to have control over your recording, right? You don't want to use it to squash your sound unless that's something that you're trying to achieve. Number 4, using a compressor on every single instrument or sound within your mix. Just because you know how to use it doesn't mean that you need to oversaturate your mix with compression. You need to have some type of intent when you go to reach for a compressor. If something already sounds good, why would you even want to mess with it? So a lot of these drum kits that people are downloading off the internet are already coming out of the box processed and ready to go. There's no need in trying to fix something that isn't broken. So definitely have a purpose when you go to add compression. Number 5, not hearing the actual tone that the compressor is adding to your mix. This mistake is going to have a huge impact because every compressor is going to have a different vibe or sound that it's going to add to the tonality of your signal. They're all going to have different characteristics regardless of the settings that you have on the compressor. Some compressors have a darkness to them. Some even brighten things up. Some compressors have a little bit more of an aggressive type of compression. So the point being is that you want to have a couple of different options in your arsenal when you go to reach for a compressor. That way you can pick a compressor based on the character of your song and that sound that you're trying to achieve. All right, so that's it for today. I hope y'all learned something. If you enjoyed the content, please consider subscribing to the channel. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and I'll see you on the next video.